Hey everyone! So, what does it really take to be a great doctor? It's not so much about memorizing a textbook cover to cover, it's actually a lot more like being an architect, carefully designing and building a career. Today we're going to look at the actual blueprint for what clinical mastery looks like.
So let's just dive right in with a huge question. Can medical school possibly teach you everything you'll ever need to know about medicine? I mean, the amount of information out there is just staggering, right? And it's changing all the time. So what's the real point of all that intense training?
Well, the answer is a pretty straightforward no. The real goal of medical school isn't to turn you into a walking, talking encyclopedia. Not at all. It's about building a super solid foundation, a base that's strong enough to support an entire lifetime of learning, way after you've graduated.
And that idea brings us right to what we're calling the doctor's blueprint. Let's start breaking down the key parts, the architectural elements you absolutely need to construct a career of real clinical excellence.
Any great structure has to start with an unshakable foundation. And in this blueprint, that foundation is built on what our sources call the foundational pillars. So, let's take a look at what they are.
Okay, so here are the big three: knowledge, skills, and attitude. Think of each one as a critical, load-bearing pillar. But you can see there's something else here, a fourth, kind of mysterious element, this glue that holds everything in place. We'll get to exactly what that is in just a little bit.
First up is knowledge. Now this is the one you'd expect, right? It's the absolute bedrock of facts. It's that deep theoretical understanding of the human body, of diseases, of treatments. It's the what and the why that has to inform every single decision you make. I mean, without this pillar, the whole building is just going to be wobbly.
Next, let's actually jump ahead to the pillar of attitude. We're going to circle back to skills in a moment, I promise. Attitude is your moral compass. It's all about professionalism, ethics, and having that unstoppable drive to always put the patient's well-being first. This pillar, this is your purpose. It's the conscience of the whole structure.
All right, now for that pillar in the middle, skills. This one is so important because it's not just one thing. It's really a complex column all on its own, a whole set of abilities that brings your knowledge and your attitude to life. So let's break this one down even further.
So skills really come in three different flavors. First, you've got cognitive skills. That's the brain work, the clinical reasoning, basically being a medical detective. Then you've got practical skills, the hands-on stuff like physical exams and procedures. And finally, you have the soft skills, your ability to connect, to communicate with empathy, and to be a team player. A truly great doctor has to be a master of all three. Okay, so we have our three incredible pillars: knowledge, attitude, and a whole suite of skills. But think about it. If you just stand them up next to each other, you don't really have a building, do you? You just have a pile of stones. You need something to connect them, to make them one single strong unit. You need the mortar.
And here it is. This is the secret ingredient, that glue we were talking about. It's called reflective practice. This is the active, conscious process of actually thinking about your experiences, analyzing what went right, what went wrong, and then integrating those lessons. It is the engine that transforms a day at work into a permanent upgrade to your expertise. It's what connects everything.
This quote just nails it perfectly. Let that sink in for a second. Having 10 years on the job doesn't automatically mean you have 10 years of growth. If you're not actively reflecting and learning from your wins and your losses, you're basically just stuck in a time loop, repeating that first year over and over and over again.
So let's see how all this comes together to build the final structure. When those pillars, knowledge, skills, and attitude, are all bound together by the mortar of reflective practice, you don't just get a competent professional. No, you get a career that's defined by constant growth and true excellence.
And this slide just makes that contrast crystal clear. On the left, you've got a career that's basically stagnant. The pillars are there, sure, but they're not connected. There's no growth. But on the right, you have a dynamic career that is powered by that reflective practice. Every single year builds on the last one, creating a taller, stronger, more impressive structure of expertise. That is the difference between just doing a job and truly mastering your craft.
And we'll end on this thought. While this whole blueprint was designed for medicine, these principles are pretty universal, aren't they? It brings up a huge question for all of us, no matter what we do for a living. What's the glue in my work? What's the reflective practice that I'm using to turn my daily experiences into real, lasting growth? Now that is a foundation